Are you reading that there's a shift happening? I keep seeing this idea that the world is going to undergo a major shift in consciousness. And what we're seeing, the disturbances on the political front and the economic front and the ecological front, points to a crisis, points to a period where everything is going to collapse. Now, I can't verify this. I don't know. But it looks reasonable to me that this actually could be happening. And it is a shock. It's a shock to all of us. We are, as Americans, we're shocked by what's happening in our own country. We had no idea of the depth of the corruption. It reaches the point of true evil. It's not just people doing bad things for money, there's worse. And it is a bigger issue, a bigger tribe of people doing these things than we ever could have thought. So, those of us drifting along on the current of expectations that our our way of life is just going to be like this all of our days are suddenly brought up short. What we see is something in the human family that it is appalling. And I I know, I do believe it's not all of us or even most of us, but it is a certain segment of the human family that is capable of things we had no idea. And why are they doing it? What is that? Um, and it looks like it's mostly men. It looks like it is something that women instinctively know is evil. And a lot of men don't. They just do it because they think they can get away with it. What in the hell? I mean, this is something. No wonder that people are talking about a crumbling civilization, a crumbling culture. And the idea of a shift is actually an optimistic idea because what the basic idea is for things to really get better, they first have to fall apart. So um, we're in for a rough ride. It looks like, and I really feel sorry for a lot of people who are caught up in the worst of this, who are actually just as a matter of bad luck in the wrong place at the wrong time. They were caught up by these criminals out in the streets with masks on and heavily armed who feel they can do anything and they're getting paid a lot of money to do those things. How is it possible that we raise people in our culture who will do anything to other people without the slightest empathy for money. How do we get that psychology? Really? Anyway, the shift. It is something that people who are more psychic than I am, who are probably more spiritual than I am, are quite sure that what's happening is an explosion of consciousness. What is actually happening is the pain before the lesson, that we are experiencing the consequences of low consciousness as a general energy across the culture and its inevitable conclusion. And yet there is a thing called spiritual evolution. And that's what the idea of the shift is about. That it is the idea that this world, with its consciousness that has been struggling for eons, is suddenly going to need to transition to a higher level, or else we'll all die. The planet will die. Nature will die. It has come to that point where if we don't advance in consciousness, and that means consciousness of our family relations with every living being, consciousness of how other people suffer, and feeling an empathy for that kind of consciousness. I'm not talking about intellectual consciousness of ideas or uh, a certain kind of education. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a consciousness of the heart. That is evidently what the shift is about. And if that's true, that's a good thing. That's something the world has needed for a very long time. And maybe we will see our dark shadow. We will see our monstrous impulses, and we will be able to transmute those things into something better. I don't know. I'm looking at this, and frankly, not been I've not been aware how corrupt so many people are in our own civilization. Yes, you can deplore how people don't seem to care about each other, how people live only for money and prestige, but it's something else when you're talking about torturing children and you're talking about systematic rape, you're talking about murder. This is beyond the pale. What we really obviously need, if those things are actually as real and organized and common as they are revealing themselves to be, if we suddenly recognize this is an element of humanity and we cannot shield our eyes from it, we have to become more human. And to do that, yes, there needs to be a shift. There needs to be a shift in consciousness. I hope my guesses are correct that There really is a shift going on, but we're just now going into it. This is going to go on for a while. It's not going to be over as quickly as we'd like. So I think that what we have to have is some steel. We have to have some courage. We're going to have to face not only the outward situation, but we're going to have to face ourselves. And there's nothing more difficult. Anyway, that's my talk for tonight.